Things kick off in rather ominous fashion as a goblin army invades a village and wreaks havoc without any kind of mercy. In the middle of all this carnage, a cute girl tries to run away from the savage beasts and screams for help. However, her efforts are all in vain as the demonic monsters grab her and pin her to the ground. Things aren't looking good for this girl, but before the goblins do anything unspeakable, one of them gets slashed into half by a sudden appearance. It doesn't take long for this unstoppable force to slice all the other goblins as well, thus saving the girl from a horrible experience. She thanks the hero boy for defending her honor, but he says it's only natural for a man to protect cute girls, no matter what the cost may be. We see our hero posing with his massive sword, and then he asks the girl if she really wants to thank him. It turns out that he has a lot of intrusive thoughts in his mind, which he doesn't mind unleashing upon her if she wishes to show her gratitude. It's a rather odd situation with our hero. But then we move to the royal council later in the evening. It is revealed that the hero boy is a traveler from another world, and he is a master swordsman here. As a matter of fact, he's so good that he can even rival demons with his strength and power. Now, he has managed to end the long battle between this fantasy world and the goblin army as well. The king refers to our hero as his friend and calls him Takamichi, also known as Taka. The king wishes to reward Taka for all the years of service he has provided. But it turns out that he is not a human king, but rather a demon king. This means that Taka is the new demon lord of this world. However, in a surprising twist, our hero refuses this title, much to the shock and dismay of the demons around him. The current demon lord scolds Taka for being a punk, because it is a huge honor to be called the demon lord of this world. It is hard for him to understand why Taka is being so stubborn, but our hero calls him out for being lazy. He doesn't want to receive such a huge title just for defeating some puny goblins. He knows that the demon lord wishes to retire, which is why he wants to pass the title down to Taka as soon as possible. The demon lord tries to tempt Taka by saying he can have money, cute girls, and powerful artifacts if he just accepts his new title. However, our hero turns the tables by saying he already has all of these things and is actually doing much better than the demon lord ever did. As expected, this offends the demon lord, so he challenges Taka to a violation contest. They will have to compete with each other to see who can unleash their intrusive thoughts on the most women in this fantasy world. The other subjects in attendance only say that Taka and the demon lord are good friends, rather than commenting on this shady challenge. Taka has had enough of this idle chit-chat, so he leaves the royal council and mocks the demon lord for suggesting silly things whenever the both of them meet. This leaves the demon lord in a state of worry, so one of his subjects, who is a wolf demon, tries to comfort him. He asks the demon lord why he's so obsessed with Taka, especially since he's not even of this world. After all, he has a lot of successors to the throne by virtue of all the women he's violated throughout his life. This wolf demon's name is revealed to be Drex, and the demon lord explains to him that none of his spawn are strong enough to take over the title. In hell, power is everything you need for success, and Taka has tons of it. As a matter of fact, he has such an amazing set of skills that he has become the commander of the demon army in only 10 years. This is no small feat, which is why Taka is the right man for the job. And the best part is that none of the demons would even complain about this choice. At the same time, the demon lord realizes that if our hero has this kind of power, then his influence will extend way beyond the confines of hell. It is here where we learn that 10 years ago, Taka was reincarnated not into a fantasy world, but hell itself. Before this, he was just a normal high school student on Earth, who had no talents at all. Now that he is here with all his powers, Taka is respected by everyone as the great hero who suppresses hell. Normally, with great power comes great responsibility. But for Taka, with great power comes honor, money, and most importantly, endless sessions with cute demon girls. We see him in action almost instantly as he is swarmed by some of the most gorgeous girls he's ever met in his life. he acts shy and tells them that he only has enough shady intentions for one of them tonight. With that, he gets down to business and accomplishes his mission with ease. However, he is upset because he has not been able to unlock his skill tree after a certain point. Despite being as intrusive as possible with the cute girls, there's a certain limit to the kind of acts Taka can use to unlock his skill tree. Of course, he is gaining a lot of GP, but that's not the prerequisite he needs for his new set of skills. The requirement is actually not as hard as one would imagine, but the nature of it is rather shady. Also, Taka will need an elf to accomplish this task, but there aren't many of those in hell. His demon girl for the night, Lulu, cozies up to him and asks how his skill acquisition is going. Taka acts shy again and thanks Lulu for helping him become even stronger. Lulu is revealed to be a demon princess, which means that she is the daughter of the demon lord. Taka wonders if a princess like her is happy with a player like him, but Lulu says that she enjoys getting her freak on with him. As expected, our hero is pleased to hear her desires for him. Princess Lulu explains that she just can't get Taka out of her mind because she fell in love with him right after the first time they acted on their intrusive thoughts. The main reason, though, is that our hero is actually an incubus. Just hearing that word brings a shady smile to Taka's face, and then we learn that he was reincarnated in this form because it is a legendary race in this world. This race is very popular with girls because they can perform unspeakable acts on them to gain their levels. However, despite all this power, the incubus race is also sterile, which means that they were supposed to go extinct until Taka came along. Our hero too used his powers to gain favor with cute girls like Lulu, which is why he's become so powerful. After all, he spent 10 years acting out all his intrusive thoughts, so he basically has the power that even gods would fear. Despite this, Taka is still ambitious, and he wishes to unlock more of his skill tree. Unfortunately, in order for him to do this, he needs to fulfill certain requirements that are almost impossible to meet. Not only are they vile beyond imagination, but they also need Taka to do unspeakable things to other races like elves and giants. None of this is possible in hell, which means that our hero will need to travel to other areas. Taka knows that his incubus skill tree is massive, and more importantly, it is topped by an ultimate skill which remains hidden from our hero's sight. He wants to know what it is because his curiosity will never let it go. Taka wonders what will happen if he manages to unlock this skill. Will he become a god among gods? Will he be able to grant his own wishes? Or will he finally learn the true reason for his reincarnation? Naturally, our hero wants answers to all these questions, so he has no other choice but to leave hell for now. His latest mission is to conquer every girl in this universe until he finally unlocks his ultimate skill. Princess Lulu wants to go for round 2, so Taka awakens his shady intentions once again. However, before he can experience heaven and hell, he gets a telepathic call from Drex. Taka is annoyed because he just wants to play with Lulu's twin sets, but Drex tells him that something interesting has appeared at the frontier. Taka has no idea what this means, but then the demon wolf explains that it might be something which will interest him. He asks our hero to get to his location as soon as possible because this strange item might just be the one thing that Taka has been looking for this whole time. It's from another world, which means that it could possibly be from Earth. Naturally, this excites Taka to the point where he is willing to leave Lulu in the middle of their session. He then tells Drex that he's heading over right this moment. The cute princess wants to know if her lover boy intends to come back to finish what he had intended to start. But this puts Taka in a spot of bother. He gives it a thought and then tells Lulu that he shall return to fulfill his duties as a shady man. Now, we move to the frontier, which is like a battle zone filled with demons. It looks like the demon army is struggling, and they want to fall back. But what could be so dangerous that it's making them panic like this? Suddenly, a massive burst of energy destroys everything in its path and sends some demons flying away. Drex comes to the scene and orders all his men to retreat as fast as they can. The demon wolf does not want to surrender to his opponent, but even he knows that his army is up against an entity that could be a commander-class threat. However, he soon changes his mind because we see that he's up against a massive chimera. The beast looks like some kind of hybrid version of a lion mixed with a dragon, so Drex believes it could be an epic-class threat. Of course, there's no way for such a dangerous monster to only be big in size, so Drex tries to come up with a plan to make it his prey. The demon wolf puts his brains to use, but before he can come up with anything useful, Taka calls out to him. He says that the chimera is his prey, so Drex better not try to steal his bounty. Naturally, the demon wolf is pleased to see that his lord is here, and even the chimera shows visible signs of fear. This is because our hero has already reached his face and starts teasing him about being too slow. Taka is done playing around, so he lands a simple kick onto the chimera's face and slams it to the ground in impressive fashion. Of course, this is not considered to be a normal superpower, so Drex just watches on in awe of his lord's strength. The chimera doesn't go down with just one blow, so Taka has to give it another shot, and this time, he comes out on top with ease. He returns from the battle and comments that it was harder than he had expected it to be. This means that he was actually up against an epic-class chimera. His achievements are amazing and absurd at the same time, as rightly pointed out by Drex. However, the chimera turns out to be even tougher as it survives Taka's second blow and emerges out of the debris with rage. The dragon-lion hybrid decides to use a finisher move to end it all, and our hero can identify it to be high-rank magic. This actually excites him, so he prepares to take on the laser cannon that the chimera is about to launch. Soon enough, the beast launches its finisher move, which looks rather deadly. Luckily, Taka has an answer for this and manages to block the cannon without even having to break a sweat. The chimera is shocked to see how powerful Taka is, because he has just used a level 10 anti-magic shield. Our hero realizes that the chimera can't be from around here, because he wouldn't have been able to use high-rank magic if that was the case. Of course, Drex and the other demons are still marveling at the fact that their lord can use such a high-rank anti-magic shield. Taka has gotten excited now, so he decides to end the battle with a finisher move of his own. He tells the chimera to prepare himself to meet his end, and then he snaps his fingers. He turns his back towards his opponent and playfully asks him to watch his step. The chimera doesn't understand what Taka says, and it catches his attention because the beast is not familiar with the Japanese language. Anyway, our hero unleashes his finisher move, which is so brutal that it completely destroys the chimera, as if it's nothing more than a puny insect. This move was at level 15 and used the dark side of the force to inflict god-level damage. Now that the chimera has been dealt with for good, Taka takes a look at it and asks Drex if it had come out from the giant cave nearby. The demon wolf says yes, so Taka decides to check it out. He does ask the other demons to stay back though, because it might be too dangerous for them to enter this cave. He also reminds Drex to report this to the current demon lord, whose name is revealed to be Gil. The demon wolf complies with Taka's commands, and then our hero enters the giant cave. As per the stories he's heard so far, hell is only a small fraction of this fantasy world. Basically, God had divided this world into two halves so that the calamities of hell would not reach anyone else. Despite this, there were a lot of rumors regarding secret passages that would lead to other parts of the world, even via hell. Taka was actually searching for these passages throughout his time here. And after 10 years of fighting monsters and violating women, Taka has finally found his hidden treasure. He is in front of a portal which is so full of magic that there are plants everywhere, even though there is not even a single trace of sunlight. Taka figures that he's in front of a teleportation gate, which means that he can finally leave hell if he travels through it. Our hero raises his arm and is about to pass through the portal, but he halts for a moment because it feels as if he's leaving his hometown. Of course, it's a place for demons, but even then, Taka has built memories here, including his unspeakable acts with girls such as Lulu. He thinks back to the time he was struck by a bus back when he was in Japan. This had led to his eventual reincarnation in hell, and all the memories that followed. It's almost as if Taka is having an emotional moment, and he confesses that even though it's a world filled with demons, he will surely miss them all because he has spent so much time here. He promises to come back because he knows that people like Gil, Drex, and Lulu will be waiting for him. Of course, there's a bit of fear because Taka doesn't know what's on the other side, but he's confident that he can go through it due to his strength. With that, he walks through the portal, and a magical beam of energy transports him to a fantasy world. Immediately, we see a cute girl running for her life as she hides within a forest behind one of the trees. Some shady men seem to be chasing after her, and they are not pleased with the fact that she has gotten away from them. They want to keep looking for her, and this makes the cute girl even more anxious. She prays to God, hoping that the shady men will leave soon, and then she checks if her prayers have been answered. However, it's of no use as one of the shady men pops out of the tree and grabs her. He looks like a pig as he pulls the cute girl out of hiding and says that she should be punished for running away. It looks like these pig men answer to a man named Lord Baton, and they prepare themselves to enjoy the cute girl. Things are not looking good for her. But then someone comes to the scene, so the pig men stop their shady acts. Suddenly, we see our hero's demonic finisher move, destroying all of the pig men within the blink of an eye. The cute girl is shocked to see what's going on, and then Taka comments on how bad his luck is. After all, he went through so much pain and effort to get here from hell, but he still ended up doing the same thing he was doing there. It turns out that this world is not peaceful either, but the focus for our hero is the cute girl in front of him. We can see that Taka is only covering his body with the dark energy he possesses, which makes things a bit awkward for the girl. He asks her if she can stand up, but she can only look on in amazement at our hero's power. It turns out that the magical barrier inside the portal was extremely powerful, so Taka had a hard time going past it. As a matter of fact, he actually thought he was going to lose his life for a second. Anyway, he's here now, but the cute girl can only keep staring at one thing. Taka doesn't realize his current situation, so he asks her what she's looking at. As expected, she hurls a lot of expletives at him without even realizing that he was the one who saved her from the pigmen. Taka hilariously tries to ask the girl to calm down, but then she pounces on him and covers what he should have been covering in the first place. The cure girl keeps scolding Taka for being shady, but she is the one with the intrusive thoughts. That's when we learn that Taka's special elephant has the power to charm any girl simply by flaunting its trunk. As expected, the cute girl starts to do things that most would not consider to be cute. Our hero tries to stop her from committing a mistake, but even he is being drawn in by his own intrusive thoughts. As a matter of fact, the cute girl uses shady methods to get him to give in, but Taka will not go down without a fight. Soon enough, his morals start to lose against his desires, and then he is taken to the inside of his mind. Suddenly, he notices someone coming near him, and it seems to be some kind of legendary being. Taka soon figures that it's the Black Sword of Eternal Desires, who is an overpowered night god with an equally powerful horse. Our hero is in awe of what he's seeing, but the night god tells him that he should stop resisting his urges. Taka tries to reason with him by saying he has gotten into an accident this time, so he should take the moral high ground. However, the night god tells him that morals are not needed in this world. He tells Taka that he must always do before he thinks, which is all the advice any man will ever need. With that, the night god prepares to launch a vicious attack from the depths of Taka's special elephant. And then we witness his finisher move, known as the Black Sword of Eternal Desires. Now, our hero is brought back to his hilarious situation, and he needs to figure a way to deal with it. He's been doing lewd things for 10 years, but something seems different about this girl, probably because she's not from hell. Anyway, he decides to return the favor, and then a vicious battle follows. Our hero wins it with ease and leaves the girl defeated on the ground. Now that he's done his business, Taka gets dressed and checks out his skills. He is amazed to see that he has actually unlocked a new skill after such a long time. It turns out that the cute girl is from a race known as Kukulu, which means that she was one of the requirements needed for him to unlock level 6 acceleration. Taka is so happy with himself because he had almost forgotten what it was like to gain a new skill. He then takes a look at the girl and realizes that she has decent abilities apart from being cute. This means that he should make more use of her after she wakes up from her defeat. After some time, the cute girl wakes up, but doesn't know where she is. It looks like she's still recovering from her intrusive thoughts manifesting into intrusive acts, so Taka wakes her up properly. He comments on how good she was earlier, but the girl suddenly recalls what had gone down between them. She screams and slaps Taka in a hilarious sequence, so our hero has no option but to say sorry for a crime that she committed. The cute girl calls Taka shady, but he reminds her that he could have used a deadly finisher move on her, but stopped himself from doing so. She wonders what made her behave this way in the first place, and believes that it could have been because of her eating some kind of wild mushroom. Taka decides to change the topic, so he asks what a cute girl like her is doing in a place like this. She says that she's a doctor and had come here looking for medicinal herbs. Our hero asks her who the pigmen were, and she explains that they were local bandits who might have been the slaves of Lord Baton. Naturally, Taka asks the doctor girl to hurry back home because it's not safe for her here anymore. After all, there might be more shady men lurking around, looking for the pigmen that Taka just ended. However, the doctor girl continues to look for herbs, and she says that she can't just abandon her mission. She has a family that needs a particular medicine soon, and in order to make it, she needs to find a rare orange stone crop. Taka is impressed by what he sees, and then he pulls out his stat finder. We finally learn that the cute girl's name is Aura, and she is 20 years old, which is quite impressive for a doctor. Since Taka has a lot of power, he decides to share some of it with Aura, as can be seen when he unlocks the skill of level 6 medicinal herb detection. Suddenly, the doctor girl senses something nearby and heads towards it without even questioning anything. Aura walks through the forest and locates something in the middle of the bushes, while Taka follows after her. To her surprise, it's the rare orange stone crop that she was looking for all this time. However, she can't seem to figure why she was able to sense it from so far away, and that too at such a random moment. She suspects our hero to have done something about it, so she asks Taka if he helped her in any way. He decides not to tell her the truth because he likes how noble Aura is. After all, she is looking out for her family, so she does qualify to be a doctor girl. Taka only gave her a little nudge, so he doesn't consider it to be much of a favor. It's basically another incubus ability of his, which is known as leader management. Aura still believes that Taka had done something for her, but he continues to deny it playfully. Basically, if a girl consumes the water from his elephant's trunk, then she instantly becomes his follower. This is how Taka was able to check her stats and unlock her abilities. Now that Aura has found her herbs, she's done with the forest. But Taka still wants to learn more about this world, so he offers to escort her back to her village. The couple walks through a long path, but Taka is fine with it because he's finally getting to see the blue skies and green earth that he was missing for 10 whole years back in hell. He can't wait to see what the rest of this world has to offer, so he asks Aura how much time it's going to take for them to reach the village. Taka acts a bit shady by giving Aura a cute nickname, but this makes her blush. She says that they're almost there, but also asks Taka not to use such nicknames on her. The doctor girl feels that they're not so close, but this is hilarious considering the session they had not too long ago. Taka teases her by saying the exact same thing and calls her cold for behaving this way. Aura tries to defend herself by saying she had lost control of her feelings back then, but she still can't explain what came over her. Even then, Taka says that she had attacked him with a lot of passion, so it's not like she was not in control. This only makes Aura feel shy, and she blushes some more. But she eventually gives up because she had lost to her intrusive thoughts. Luckily, the doctor girl also realizes that Taka had saved her life from the pigmen, and she thanks our hero for his actions. She's grateful that our hero is also escorting her to the village, but she has some advice for him. Aura doesn't want Taka to be close to her, as it would be best if they stayed away from each other. Normally, this would confuse a standard male, but Taka is an alpha, so he knows exactly why Aura is saying this. Basically, Lord Baton might come after her again for what has happened, and it might get uglier than what we saw in the forest. He's also not a fair man, so using logic will not work with him. Keeping this in mind, Aura wants to keep Taka safe, which is why she has offered this advice. However, our hero doesn't care about Lord Baton at all. All that matters to him is that in this fantasy world, no one is allowed to steal the girls he likes. Aura has become one of these girls, but she doesn't seem too thrilled about it. Anyway, we move forward into the village, and we see a young boy looking on in awe. This is because Aura is back in town, and it was believed that she would not make it back after the shady pig men started chasing her. Everyone celebrates her return, and Taka watches on to see how popular she is in this village. The people like to call her Sister Aura, but they don't know that she behaved like a stepsister with our hero. Suddenly, a little girl runs past all the villagers, and she hugs Aura while calling her big sister. This girl's name is Amira, and she has tears of joy in her eyes, because she thought that she was never going to see Aura again. The doctor girl also becomes emotional, and she hugs Amira, after which she says sorry for making her worry. However, Taka can only see that Amira is quite cute as well, and he lets his intrusive thoughts take over. Now, the mayor of the village shows up, and she is glad to see Aura still alive and well. However, she wants to know how she was able to avoid the pigmen because they were very strong and fast. Of course, the doctor girl can't give the full story, so she simply points at Taka and says that he had saved her life. The mayor is amazed to hear this story, so she thanks our hero for his services, even though he has already been paid for them in kind. She also offers Taka a free stay at her village, so he accepts her kindness with a proud face. Now, we shift to the dinner table where Taka gobbles up the food that's being provided to him. He can't stop himself, so the chefs and waiters awkwardly ask him if he's enjoying his meal. Our hero has multiple dishes in his mouth at the same time, and he says that he's never eaten anything so delicious his whole life. He is so happy that he declares he will never go back to his previous world, where all he could get was bitter fish meat. Of course, he's referring to hell, but the others don't know that yet, so Aura mocks him for not having any manners. The mayor has no problem with it though, and she tells Taka to gorge upon as much food as she has to give him. She even goes on to say that she would have offered our hero a young girl for the night, and it makes his eyes beam with joy. As expected, Aura is not too enthusiastic about this reward, but then the mayor explains that she can't offer a young girl to Taka at the moment due to a shortage that they are facing in the village. As of now, they do not have many young girls over here, but before the mayor can reveal the cause of this issue, Taka can already guess that it's Lord Baton who's responsible for it. The mayor then goes on to explain that Baton is a deadly beast when it comes to his hunger for cute girls. As a matter of fact, he actively sends his shady pig men to the mountains so that they can look for cute girls and bring them back to him. They have been kidnapping any girls that they can get their hands on, which explains why they were after Aura as well. The stories that have been heard about Lord Baton's slave house are too sad and extreme, so Taka figures that he is an inhuman, irredeemable fiend. Our hero can see that there are strong men in this village, so he asks them why they haven't stood up to Baton. He learns that the people here actually did try to resist his ways, but it became too difficult to do it on their own. The men had asked for help from the Guard Association, but it was of no use at all. It was just one disaster after another, as everything they tried had resulted in failure. This is because the shady pig men were way too overpowered due to the fact that most of them were demi-humans. After all these wasted efforts, a lot of young men from the village ended up losing their lives as well. The worst part was that the Guard Association had refused to help this village because they had sent tons of soldiers to face off against the goblin invasion. The name of this world's kingdom seems to be Heltera, and there is no way out for the people of this village. It's mainly because they will need to pass the forest if they want to relocate, and there's no way the elders will be able to survive the beasts living there. On top of that, Baton is also building his own stronghold on the highway to Heltera, so the villagers are trapped like birds in a cage. Anyway, the men thank Taka for saving Aura's life, because they were planning to launch one final attack in order to save her. This makes the doctor girl blush, and she tells the men that they don't need to do so much for her. The mayor tells her that it's no problem at all because it's her duty to protect Aura. We learn that the doctor girl's mother, Marla, had entrusted her to the village, so it's a promise that the mayor will need to keep. Aura blushes after hearing this, and then one of the men commends Taka for beating all of Baton's men. He tries to use this as a way to ask our hero to help the village, but Taka is a savage, and he says no before he can even ask the question. He thanks the people of the village for the meal, and then he walks away, leaving everyone confused. One of the men wants to confront Taka, but the mayor rightfully stops him because our hero has no obligation to help the villagers. She also comments that there's no way for Taka to defeat Baton because he's just too powerful. Aura watches on with helpless eyes as Taka leaves the scene, and then we move to Lord Baton's castle, where some shady men are bowing down to their master. They are the only ones who have made it out alive, and they apologize for not being able to bring back Aura. Baton doesn't care for any of this, so he chops off one of the men's heads. He calls his men useless, whereas he is shown to be quite a pig himself. He then calls upon a girl named Violet, and she's shown to be quite cute. He orders her to bring back Taka's head along with more women for his shameless acts, and she obeys her master without any questions. Violet walks away, and then Baton proudly declares that no one can escape his wrath. Now, we move back to the village where both Aura and Amira are being called to have their meals. However, this is a flashback as we can see their mom, Marla, giving them some vegetable soup. Aura, Amira, and Marla look like one big happy family. But then tragedy struck when Baton invaded their home and took Marla away from her daughters. Aura wakes up, and we learn that she was having a nightmare. In a hilarious twist, Taka is shown right at her bedside admiring her curvy body. He playfully asks Aura if she had a bad dream, but she doesn't give him any response. Our hero senses a chance, so he asks Aura if she has fallen in love with him. But this only angers her to the point where she smacks him for being shady. The doctor girl screams at our hero for being inside her room, but he can only think about how she was able to smack him, even if it didn't hurt as much. Aura wants to know why Taka is in her house, especially because the mayor had shown him to his own house. She considers our hero to be a creep, but then she notices that Amira is awake. Aura is surprised to see this, but her sister reveals that she was woken up by the smell of Taka's cooking. This comes as even more of a shock to the doctor girl, because Amira usually only eats food that has been made by her and no one else. After realizing that Taka is actually a nice boy, Aura sits down at the table and has a meal with him and Amira. Our hero notices that the other villagers don't have the same ears as Aura and her sister, so he asks if they're the same race as them. That's when Aura reveals that feather ears are a trait of the Kukulu race. It turns out that her family was not a part of the original village, and it was thanks to people like the mayor that they found a place to stay. The doctor girl proceeds to take a bite out of the meal that Taka has prepared, and she is completely blown away by how tasty it is. Our hero explains that it's called tamagoyaki, which is a popular recipe from his original world that uses eggs. Taka is very proud of his cooking skills, as Aura says she never thought that eggs could be used for making anything other than bread. Taka is glad that she likes his food, because he had a passion for making tasty meals. But it was a different case for him back in hell. Basically, the demon lord didn't like the fact that Taka was using salt and sugar in the same recipe, which is why he used to call it dark cooking. Anyway, our hero simply says that Gil had bad taste in food, and it's much better to be around people who genuinely enjoy his cooking. His words make Aura feel something, so she gets up from the table and asks him to come with her. Our hero gladly follows, but then Aura locks herself inside the room with him. Taka is impressed with the size of this space, so he asks Aura if it's some kind of lab. However, the doctor girl asks him if he can leave as soon as he's done with breakfast. Naturally, our hero finds it weird that the doctor girl wants him to get out of her house right after he treated her to a tasty meal. He laments the fact that Aura is still scared of Baton and is trying to make him leave because of it. Taka understands that the situation is not very good, but at the same time, he's tired of watching people like Baton have their way around cute girls. Taka now tries to reassure Aura that all will be well, but when he turns around to see her, his view is blinded by the sight of her curvy body. Of course, Taka's intrusive thoughts take over, and he tries to fight them by asking Aura what she's trying to do. The doctor girl says that our hero only has one mission in mind, that's to conquer her body. If that's the case, she will let Taka do unspeakable things to her. But he has to leave after that. Our hero has been in this situation before, like when he had met the night god of desires. But he doesn't want that entity to come back. So he quickly lands a harmless karate chop on Aura's head and calls her silly. He then decides to leave the room, and he tells Aura that she should get dressed before the food becomes cold. After all, the dish can still be tasty when it's cold, but Taka would prefer his food and his girls to piping hot. Now, our hero steps outside and puts his brain to work. He figures that Aura is really scared of Baton, so it would be very easy for him to have his way with her and gain an extra skill. This would normally be a fair price to pay for getting rid of someone like Baton, but Taka doesn't like to play his games with cheat codes. Meanwhile, Aura doubts her curvy appeal because she actually wanted to get freaky with Taka. Now, we move to outside the village where a couple of guards are keeping watch. However, they soon come across Violet and panic upon identifying who she is. One of the men rushes to Aura's house and asks everyone to hide because Baton's slave girl has come for Taka's head. Our hero is busy enjoying his meal, so he asks the man to calm down first. Taka wants to know what kind of person he's dealing with, so the man says she's a cute girl with white hair. It's the first time he's seen her, so he can't really say much more, but Aura realizes that it's Violet, who is Baton's elite warrior. She begs Taka to run to the forest, as she will try to sacrifice herself to Baton to make things right. However, our hero is not going to abandon his cute follower girl just like that, so he pats her on the head and says he'll go check it out. In the meantime, he asks Aura to continue with her meal, which she finds rather strange of him to say. Also, Taka turns back to the man and confirms if it's a cute, young girl who's come for him. He has a shady smile on his face, so the man awkwardly says yes, and then we move to the other men who are trying to keep Violet at bay. We can see that Baton's slave girl has held an innocent boy as her hostage, and she threatens to send him straight to the heavens if the villagers don't hand over Aura and Taka. She does mention that she does not want to use such tactics, but she will enforce them if no one listens to her demands. Now, the mayor shows up and reveals to us that Violet actually used to be Heltera's top S-rank assassin. So, it does not make any sense for her to be Baton's slave girl. The mayor asks Violet why she would commit such a betrayal, but she says that it's none of her business. The slave girl is done waiting, so she issues a threat once again, but the men are busy looking at something else. She wonders if they are even listening to what she's saying, but it turns out that Taka is actually underneath her and getting a good view. His first words happen to be the color of her garments, and it makes Violet blush. The slave girl is about to land her first blow on our hero, but he simply asks her not to get too angry. After all, He only got a sneak peek and not the full view. He uses his stat finder to assess Violet, and he can see that she has skills like power boost, poisoning, accuracy, and other such moves. Violet proceeds to launch a finisher move on Taka, and she splits the ground open with her magical strength. The men of the village watch on in awe, but the slave girl is unable to impress Taka. He has already managed to save the boy and avoid a direct hit, as can be seen when the dust clears. Violet becomes cautious as he tells her that she has a decent level of destructive power, but only for an assassin. After all, a move like this can at best be on par with one of the centurions from Hell's army. The men thank Taka for saving the boy, but he asks them not to mention it and requests everyone to stay back. However, the men advise Taka to run away as well, because Violet is not a normal adventurer. Neither is she an elite soldier. Rather, she is a monster with two names, as she has been able to defeat monsters such as minotaurs and also assassinated lots of famous people due to her S-rank skills. This actually makes our hero more interested in Baton's slave girl, because he wants to know what kind of skill he is going to unlock after conquering her curvy body. He's quite excited to find out, so he calmly dodges Violet's forward attack with ease, much to her shock and surprise. The actual shock, though, comes when he lets his intrusive thoughts take over and starts to appreciate her curvy body. This angers Violet to the point where even the village men are now sure that Taka is going to meet his end. The only thing on Taka's mind is that he has gained a new level 3 skill simply by touching Violet. As expected, the slave girl brings out her blade and charges at him with full force. But Taka uses his bare hands to crush the dagger without even breaking a sweat. This amazes Violet, because her dagger is a lot tougher than most blades in the kingdom. Now, our hero uses a simple trick to pin Violet to the ground, and he gains the upper hand in just a few seconds. Violet is unable to move due to Taka's strength, but she can also sense a lot of power inside him. More than this, she was also overpowered by his move, which comes from taijutsu. The men of the village are just as shocked to see how easily Taka was able to win this round with such a simple trick. Now, our hero decides to make a deal with Violet, but it's not the kind you'd expect from an angel. He suggests that they should both act on their intrusive thoughts, and in return, he'll spare her for attacking the village. He even promises to take care of Baton for her, and continues to tease Violet for having such a curvy body. He's sure that a girl like Violet would never want to work with the villains, so he asks if Baton is threatening her. After all, the deal that Taka is proposing is a lot better than being Baton's slave girl. But the thing is that our hero has become too complacent after his first round victory. Violet calls Baton a fat fish and thinks it's ridiculous to think that she is his ally. With that, she launches a demonic blast at Taka using her eyes, but he's able to dodge it in the nick of time. Of course, this was a close call, but it's not like it would have done much damage to Taka. The men of the village are amazed to see this, because Violet is shown to be a demon eye user. This is actually an extremely rare skill that only a few people are born with. This also explains how Violet was able to defeat the Minotaur with ease. The slave girl vanishes from sight, and Taka wonders if she's retreating from the battle. But this was a deception that she had used to get on top of him. Now, Violet has Taka cornered, and there's no way for him to escape her demon eye. Violet unleashes her Wind King's spear attack, which has an attack damage of Demon Eye 1. An overpowered blast lands a direct hit on our hero, and the explosion is massive to the point where it shatters all the buildings around it. Violet is a bit tired after using her most powerful finisher move, and comments that she can't believe she had to use such an insane amount of magic on a man like Taka. She asks our hero to turn to dust and go to hell, but what she sees after that is unbelievable. Our hero is completely unharmed and has only lost his clothes from such a fierce attack. He asks Violet if she really is an assassin, but the men of the village are speechless after seeing that Taka has not only survived the blast, but is also completely unharmed. Violet can't believe that a direct hit from her best move did nothing to her opponent. But then her eyes fall on our hero's special elephant, and she falls in love with its trunk. The incubus ability kicks in once again, so Violet attacks Taka with a raging passion. Taka just realizes what has happened to his clothes, but it's too late as Violet is already under a trance. He tries to tell her it's not his fault, even though it actually is his fault. Taka doesn't want to win like this, so he asks the men if he can borrow a room which is soundproofing. The men are confused, so Taka explains that he's going to torture Violet because he can't really say that his intrusive thoughts are going to take over. The men are pleased to hear this, so they suggest using the basement of a man named Joe. With that, Taka takes Violet to Joe's basement and decides to get things started. He tries to go where no man has gone before, but he gets struck by lightning because that is what happens when you try to violate a body with a demon eye. That's when we learn about the demon eye being the ultimate hereditary power that only a few girls can inherit. These eyes possess extremely powerful and unique skills, which is why they are feared by all the races. The problem, though, is that their bodies are sealed by the demon lord, which means that they can only act on their intrusive thoughts with him. This leads to a tough life ahead for them, which is why most of them don't even make it past a certain age. The ones who do manage to survive try to go and find the demon lord to ease their pain and suffering. After all, he is the only one who can extinguish their desires. However, the existence of hell had disappeared tens of thousands of years ago. And with that, the existence of the demon lord has also vanished almost as if it was just a story or a fairy tale. Serving the demon lord as his slave was possible back then. But now, it's just a sad and impossible dream. Basically, this means that Violet didn't do anything with Baton, and our hero confirms it from her. Violet even goes on to say that Baton doesn't have the power to help her either. However, he had claimed to have information about the demon lord, which is why she had decided to help him. At the end of the day, this was nothing more than a simple business transaction. Violet now tells Taka that she has never hurt a villager and will give up on kidnapping him since he is way too strong for her anyway. She will even compensate him for the room she destroyed with her demonic eye blast, but it would be best if they didn't act on their intrusive thoughts. Nobody is going to benefit from this, so she suggests letting her go. However, Taka is able to get the job done with ease, and that's when Violet realizes that he is the one true demon lord. After a rather intense session, Taka checks out his stats once more and notices something odd about Violet now that she is his latest follower. He immediately asks her to come to him, and she does so happily now that she has fallen in love with him. However, our hero uses a demon hand to destroy a poisonous water insect that was hidden inside her body. Basically, this is a dangerous insect that follows the orders of its owner and explodes inside its target's body, thus destroying all the organs inside it. It looks like Baton is no ordinary man, and Violet is upset with the fact that he had put such a filthy thing inside her body. Taka smashes the insect with his foot and resolves the situation, so Violet gives him a hug. She looks at him with dreamy eyes and calls him her demon lord and master. This puts a huge smile on Taka's face, and then he walks out of the basement room. As soon as he gets out, he hears Aura, who was waiting outside all this time. The look on her face suggests jealousy as well, which is a bit odd considering how she would call Taka a creep earlier. Now, Aura asks our hero if he had his way with Violet, but also says it's good for him to have conquered such an amazing body. Normally, this would be a compliment to a normal man, but Taka knows this could head into dangerous territory, so he tries to calm the situation. Taka tells Aura that he is not a glorious hero who needs to be worshipped, so she should not hold him to a higher standard. He is basically a demon lord, so it makes sense for Taka not to want so many praises for doing such shady things with cute girls now that he has put his point across. He asks Aura if she is scared of him and puts on his demon face for added effect. However, the doctor girl simply makes a cute face and calls him a silly savage. After all, she does not want to share her lover boy with anyone else, even though from the looks of it, He seems to have enjoyed a lot with Violet. Now, we move to Baton's mansion where he learns about Taka surviving Violet's demon eye. His slave boy tells him that Taka might be a rare rank threat, but Baton believes he could even be an epic rank fighter. The slave boy also reveals that Violet has fallen in love with Taka, so she could be a threat to Baton. The fat fish man wonders if he should use the poison insect to make his life easier, but he already knows that Taka must have already ended it. The slave boy worries that if someone is that powerful, then it will be a problem if he comes to the mansion. Baton doesn't look too worried because he feels he's only lost a small piece in this war. There's a lot more he has up his fins, and he also comments that he cannot be touched for as long as he stays inside this mansion of his. How is our hero going to take care of Baton? Will Violet and Aura become a part of his harem? Like, share, and subscribe if you liked this video. Hit the bell icon to get notified when I upload part 2. See you soon.